Alright, cocksuckers, welcome back to Practicing Portraits, an artwod roadmap. Right, artwod is the best draftsmanship platform, blah blah blah, draw off imagination, I'm a dick writer. Fucking link in description if you actually want to draw good. How good? This good. There you go. I mean, yeah, whatever. Been drawing for 3 years and 4 months, blah blah blah, bullshit, draw along. There you go. Okay, now that everybody has fucked off, let us draw, right? Let us actually focus on the fundamentals and the foundations. I encourage you all to draw with me. The only expectation we have for this session, as with every session to the best of our ability, we frame our mindset that only the effort and attempting to achieve, or sorry, only the effort matters. We're going to make a lot of mistakes, and we're going to strive to meet our expectations. No, sorry, we're going to strive to attempt to meet our expectations. We're not going to actually meet our expectations because our expectations are at a skill level that we're not capable of yet. But with that being said, anyways, what am I doing? I'm looking at a portrait, I'm encompassing it in a box, putting a sphere inside that box, putting center lines inside that sphere inside the box, and then I'm gonna form wrap it, and it'll be basically 2 reps per one. I'm on my 11th rep, I'm doing the 50 rep rule, blah blah blah, whatever. Fucking draw along, none of this matters, nobody gives a shit until I'm actually the GOAT, so... This is just for the few who already know who I am anyways. If you're curious who I am, click on my channel and you'll be like, oh, he has almost 400 videos showcasing his art practice. Why? Because I aim to prove that anybody can fucking draw. That's why. It's because like you and I were the same for real, all that shit. Anyways, no, it's honestly so I can prove that anybody can draw, right? But the main thing right now is the biggest, most difficult part of what I'm doing right now is then like what I'm specifically doing right now, this box, the sphere inside the box, and the center lines inside the sphere inside the box, is building 3 layers of visualization, right? 3 layers of perspective visualization. And this is going to be a skill that transfers greatly to everything else, because think about it, it's extremely difficult, by the way, right? This is, in terms of working memory, our brain can only hold about 3 to 5 things at once. I'm trying to hold 6 things. I'm trying to hold, or more, right? I'm trying to hold an entire box, I'm trying to hold a sphere inside of it, and I'm holding 2 contours on top of that, right? Bless me. Not even that. I'm trying to hold 2, what's it called? 2 axes, right? Contours, whatever, orientations along that sphere. And I'm curving it. So I also have to think about the curve of the contour itself on top of like the sphere, which is a curved surface, right? So that's like a bunch. And if you want to even break it down even further, I'm trying to hold 3 different planes inside this box, right? So again, what we're doing right now is I'm looking at the box. I'm trying to figure out, because this is a very foreshortened face. Like this is a face that is extremely foreshortened, and this is good because this is what I need. I need this to be able to. And another thing I'm doing is like trying to hold a projection of it, of the 3 layers of visualization from the portrait reference I have on the left on my iPad, and then holding that and trying to understand it. Like we're trying to deconstruct the reference into simple forms, extremely simple forms, right? So the process that I've been employing, but that's been reinforced to me by a quick Google search, is to try to hold the visualization for as long as possible. Once it flickers, you know, let it collapse, I guess, in a sense, and then reconstruct it, because reconstruction, holding it is one part of it, but reconstruction, how fast we can reconstruct our visualization, is the other part about learning, and specifically building the spatial skills, right? And again, while I'm doing this, I'm fucking talking, which is extremely difficult, right? Like I'm literally explaining what I'm doing while I'm talking, so that's also what makes this probably 10 times more difficult than it needs to be. But I want to prove that I can do it, and I want to prove that anybody can do it, because it's all skills. It's all fucking skills, right? Like explaining myself while drawing is an extremely difficult skill, but I will prove that anybody can do it, even when it's an extremely difficult skill like spatial reasoning, right? And this is already a bit off, and you can see my lines suffer drastically. Like they suffer so much when I do this, but it's necessary, right? So again, I'm really trying to think about that perfect sphere. Extremely difficult, once again, extremely fucking difficult, but it's all about reconstructing it, because right now it collapsed immediately, right? And I couldn't hold the center lines at all. But now I'm allowing that to occur, and now I'm trying to reconstruct it again, which is, I guess, the other part of the problem solving process, which I wasn't practicing or employing nearly as much. But, and again, you'll see my lines, like over here, that was extremely subpar line confidence, because this way I really struggle with my lines, right? All this explanation isn't going to mean anything until it does, is the way I think about it, right? Okay, again, see, like it collapsed again, so now I have to reconstruct it again. And each time I'm trying to get that center line and the horizontal like contour and everything properly done, right? Slowly but surely, it's actually incredible. And, good old AI summary bullshit was right? Even GPT, like the reconstruction is very important. The reconstruction is clearly very important. Like trying to hold it, like what holding it does is improve my ability to hold spatial reasoning. What reconstructing it does is refine my ability to create that mental schema of these three layers of perspective. And the reason you might be wondering, if it's not so obvious, right, not to say that it should be obvious, but if it isn't obvious or if it isn't relatively clear, is so this is a foundation, right? When I move on to the Loomis head, this is the foundation it will all be based off of. When I move on to placing features, like everything will be calculated against these consistent measures of perspective, right? And that's the whole point, is like you want to have something to rely on. Most people never do this because most people don't want to do anything difficult, right? If you don't want to be like most people, you should spend at least half a year to 2 years of your life genuinely practicing something like this. If that sounds like a lot of time, let's be honest, you're probably going to spend that time fucking around and not practicing this, and then wondering why you're not getting the return on investment that you believed you were promised anyways. Of course, I'm creating a straw man, a scapegoat, whatever the fuck you want to call it. I want to shit on people who don't try, because I believe everybody can try, and I believe we're all capable of trying. I just lost the perspective again, but now that I know, okay, now reconstruct it, right, and try to hold it. It's making it actually, funny enough, a lot easier for me to just keep trying to reconstruct and hold it. I don't think a perfect sphere is encapsulated in this. It's a bit too wide. And that's because I definitely made the front plane a bit too wide. And you might be wondering, okay, like, what do you think about here? Well, not only am I thinking about the box, the sphere inside the box, the center lines inside the sphere inside the box, I'm also calculating the center line of this shape. And like I was watching a video of Kim Jong-il, and it's funny because everything he says he does is right there. Whether he says it or whether he draws it, but he'll draw something and then he'll put it in a box, and then he'll put the fucking cross axes like this, right, and the center line, the vertical and horizontal center line, and the diagonal like center lines and shit, and he'll be like, and that's how it's done. And people will look at that and be like, okay, so he just draws the thing, right? And he thinks about forms a little bit. It's like, no, you don't understand to the extent of which this is being done. You don't understand that he's constantly thinking about these things. And another thing and that's off, you can see that's actually pretty off, right? And that's why you have to build your eye as well. And another thing is the fact that, what's it called? See, I just lost it again. So I'm now rebuilding. I'm consistently trying to rebuild. And this is actually very helpful, that frame of just, okay, try to hold it for as long as you can and then rebuild. Try to hold it for as long as you can and then rebuild, right? And that's actually, like, when I think about it, that's how I've been learning, and that's how I've been practicing perspective and forms in general. So why should it be any different here, right? And now that I don't put so much mental pressure on myself, but I'm still trying to hold it a shit ton. Like even, putting this line on the box while trying to hold it, it's very fucking difficult. But what people don't understand is like to the extent of how much mental energy all this shit takes, right? Like this shit takes a lot of mental energy. Speaking of, I'm gonna rest my brain. Let's employ the gap effect. I encourage you to do so as well. But yeah, that's why I'm trying to explain as much as I can of what I'm thinking, because okay, like this is way too this is just way this front plane is fucking way too much. Holy shit. When I look at it now, there's no way her face is, it's more like this, I think. But this is the fucky part, and that's why I love portraits and trying to figure out the perspective, because I'm not looking at a person's face as a box. In the sense that someone's face, you don't look at it and immediately see a front plane of their face or like the side plane of the box and all that shit. We don't really see that, right? What we do see, and this is actually, I think, even more subtle than what I have here, right? What we do see are features in which we have to extrapolate perspective from, right? So that's also a very unique skill. And again, while I draw these, not a unique skill, sorry, a very difficult skill. It is unique in the sense that most people will never practice that for some reason, but I'm here to say that you can and you will and you should practice it if you want to improve to the level that you believe you should be capable of, right? or you want to be capable of. But again, like while I'm drawing this, now again, like I'm really fucking thinking about the box, the sphere, the center lines. But while I say it is while I'm reinforcing that I'm thinking about it. But you have to remember, my focus keeps flickering in general because I'm looking at the reference now a bunch too. So my focus keeps being like fucked off, turned off. I'm getting fucked in the mind. But it's basically, it's already difficult as it is to hold box, sphere, center lines, especially the sphere and the center lines, right? It's already extremely difficult as it is. Very difficult to hold those 3 layers of perspective, consistently flickering, consistently calculating, consistently trying to figure it out. Now, on top of that, my focus is getting disturbed. Yeah, best fucking word for it. It's getting disturbed because I keep looking at the reference to get a relatively accurate understanding of the perspective, right? And that's normal, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But it's just that is a fact. Now, I'm pretty sure some things here... This girl's a fucking long-ass nose. Okay. But pretty sure some things here are gonna be off. Because, yeah, now, like, when I do this, I see how off my perspective is. You know what I mean? Like, I actually see how... And again, when I'm drawing these features, I'm losing the sphere consistently. But again, this little frame of rebuilding, right? Just kind of always reconstructing the box, the sphere, the center lines, always reconstructing. And every time we do it, and the more mental energy we put towards it, the better we get, right? Because one thing I didn't realize, because like my initial goal was to just hold this visualization for as long as possible. And it's kind of obvious, like what I'm about to say, but like, no, you dumbass, what the fuck, like what? And I don't think what I did was ever a waste of time because I built the ability to put extreme amounts of effort to hold this visualization. But one thing that, and again, like I'm constantly thinking about this, you know, this minor axis, or I'm doing my best to constantly think about the minor axis, right? And same with here. Like I'm trying to do my best to think about it, you know? And where do I get this from? I get it from here, right? And you can see it's already pretty off, but that's like what the curve, and then when you project it outward into a sphere, it curves like so, right? Like it's all just fucking planes being infinitely projected throughout the solid form. Like that's what it is, right? But what was I saying? But yeah, this whole concept of, which is just how our brains learn, of constantly deconstructing, reconstructing, trying to hold it, and then reconstructing, right? I was so focused on just holding it for as long as possible, but I've more been reinforced and understood now that no, it's like holding it is very important, but what's equally as important is constantly building that mental schema of reconstruction and constantly seeing the planes and constantly analyzing. And that's what I've always done, but now it's like, I'm still trying equally as hard, but it feels like there's a solid, stress that's been taken off my mind in terms of the understanding that, hey, it's less about, and again, like I'm fucking trying to do this, so I can't, it's hard to think right now, but yeah, it's less about having it visualized perfectly for fucking ever versus when it does flicker right now and then immediately taking a step back, like, okay, reconstruct, right? And then now I've relatively reconstructed, and now I try to hold that for an extended period of time as well. Her lips are so shit. Oh my god, I fucked that up so much. But again, these words are just words. What I feel is great, because when you focus on the effort and you focus on the errors, that's all that matters. That's what improves, right? It's like you literally get better when you focus on feeling good from making mistakes. So now the next step is obviously to hold this visualization, which is actually the hardest part, is to hold. I now have to hold this, the sphere, and the center lines, and I have to constantly calculate it, but I have to hold it, right? Because it's easy to hold it when you have the box as a basis, but when you don't have that box, right? This is why I'm ghosting, by the way. The ghosting is sort of like it's like the, yeah, it's like the middle step between full-on visualization and actually making the mark, right? That's why ghosting is so powerful, and that's why, you know, you'll notice in videos, if you watch Peter Han or Kim Jong-il or Carl Kapinski, especially Peter Han and Kim Jong-il, you'll notice that they ghost all the time. Like their ghosting is perhaps nowhere near as repetitive, right, or frequent as mine, but it's there, and they put little lines, they put little markers to constantly help themselves understand, right, what they're doing and whether it makes sense. But the ghosting is all there, you know? So that's what I'm trying to do right now, is just ghost. And okay, see, I lost it again. I just lost the perspective. So now I know, instead of like constantly pushing through, be like, no, take a step back. Okay, now realign it. Now realign it and see where you're at, right? Because what I was reading is the fact that if you keep trying to push the quote unquote depreciated model of the visual thing that you're trying to build, in my case the 3 layers of perspective, you're not allowing for a reconstruction to occur, like a application of what you are now trying to make the correct construction, is the way I'm understanding it. But again, this is just trial and error at the end of the day. At the end of the day, it's really all trial and error. The hardest part is actually me fucking talking out loud and explaining what I'm doing, to be honest. That's actually the most difficult part right now, is me just explaining and speaking on this, because that involves a shit ton more mental work as well, right? Because if you're wondering what I'm figuring out right now, like what's really occupying my mind, it's the center line. I'm trying to establish a proportionate, consistent center line while also keeping the sphere consistent. See, and like that's the hardest part, is like the sphere, this perfect circle, which no matter what perspective you're in, it's always a fucking perfect circle because it's a sphere, right? And then essentially aligning the sides of the perspective, right? Like the side plane, the bottom plane, the front plane, to the edges of that sphere, while also retaining the size of the sphere itself. And explaining this, i.e. teaching it, quote unquote, does help quite a bit in reaffirming or reinforcing what I'm trying to do. But does that mean I get easier or I get better at doing it? Who knows? Who knows? I'm trying really, really, really hard to hold that in my mind. But the only thing that's going to reinforce it right now is effort and application and just constantly trying to reinforce. See, like now that I put this line down, I basically lost the perspective. Again, now I take a step back. I'm like, okay, reconstruct. What did you see? Oh, wow, that was like, as I'm doing that, as I'm saying that, I actually saw it a little bit better now. Like it was reconstructed, I guess, a little bit better. Right now, you might be wondering, where is this angle coming from? It's coming from this. But you'll notice this is actually more off. Like this is more off compared to that, right? So that means that I have to shift this down, and this is actually kind of like this instead, right? So now this is my angle. That means whatever other angle that I put here has to be more like this, right? So everything, and where's this coming from? That means it's coming from the center line. That's the adjustment that I made in my mind now, right? So I'm always calculating. I want to be very clear. And it's extremely cognitively taxing. But I am always calculating. Like there's always calculations going on. Whether those calculations are correct or not are up to interpretation, I guess, right? Up to my belief, my understanding, but in my constant attempts, right, for lack of a better word, but I am constantly calculating. See, I lost the perspective again, so I'm going to take a step back to try to hold it, really try to hold it. The perfect sphere, the hardest thing right now is actually everything about it is hard, but it's aligning the perfect sphere with the different planes that I have, right? Like with the different parts of this cube. Like that is the most difficult part, and like constantly trying to see this center line, that's been the most difficult. But if I do something like this, and again, like we're trying to make it subtle, right? Maybe that's not subtle enough, but the funny thing is, like, also my lines need quite a bit of work as well, right? So, and I completely lost the perspective again. So again, now I have to deconstruct, because I have to try to hold it in my mind as much as possible, right? We really have to hold it in our minds as much as possible, because that's the main skill, is like holding it, reconstructing it, holding it. And now while I draw this, I'll probably lose it again in my mind, right? Like it's very likely that I'll just lose it, and I need to not like run away from my responsibilities, for lack of a better word, and draw the perspective that I'm most poor at, which is this one. I also obviously, and the thing is, like, while I'm doing this now, what's the next thing that's also occupying my mind? Design, which is it's like a big middle finger, you know what I mean? It's literally a big middle finger, because I've lost it now. So I'm gonna rest my brain, we're gonna come back and try again, right? Because the hardest part is I keep drawing things that extend outwards, which is good, because but it's also very difficult, because when you draw something that extends outward from this visualization that you've created, now it's like, okay, but where is the sphere actually placed? Now, if I look at it, it's like it's placed roughly around here, right? Because if this is my center line, right? If I've made this my center line, then it's coming and this is the minor axis, right? Even though this curve isn't that correct, then that means my sphere has to end somewhere here because it has to follow the end of this curve, and then we have to bring it around. It has to be even. And now, while I'm doing that, I still have to think about the box, right? Still have to think about the box. So that's a lot of things to think about, but that's why I constantly just try to hold, and then when I lose it, I reconstruct. Hold, lose it, reconstruct. And I already feel a lot better and more confident. It's the same process, but I feel as if my mind's being a bit more efficient, even though I'm already thinking really hard still. But this could all be bullshit. Maybe I'm not doing it right. Who fucking knows? But as long as we keep trying, right? That's all that matters. I also want to be very clear when I say, as long as we keep trying, that's all that matters. There are right things to try on. I believe what I'm like, especially when it comes to fundamentals. I personally believe that the right thing I'm trying on is correct. Like, I do believe this is correct. I do believe that this has a lot of value because it's all perspective. You know what I mean? It's all perspective. So it has to have value, right? If practicing perspective doesn't have value, then there's no fucking point in practicing anything in art, clearly, right? Because this is the biggest return on investment that one could have when it comes to their practice, right? At least that's what I believe. You don't have to believe. But let's see. And again, like, things will be off center, things will be incorrect, right? And then maybe I could also do something like this. And now while I'm doing this, I've already lost the perspective quite a bit. So this is when I need to take a step back, be like, okay, where is it actually? Okay, there it is. I see it a little bit better now. There's my front plane. There's my side plane, right? There's the bottom plane. This is my sphere. I don't see it clearly at all. I want to be very clear. I see this maybe in terms of fidelity, that's like 20%. Consistency, 15-20%, right? Proportion, accuracy, 15-20% max, like all across the board. And they're not working in conjunction. They're working like kind of individually and like constantly trying to keep it in mind, right? So it's beautiful. It's actually beautiful how difficult it is. But I already feel a lot better knowing that I am technically, not technically, that I am approaching this more correctly now, right? Directionally correctly. Let's see, and then and you can see like my designs actually don't even look that bad anymore because I'm kind of thinking about it in this way that I feel is making a difference. But again, like, it is very easy to lose the perspective. I want to be very clear. It's extremely easy to lose the perspective. Like, I have just now done it, right? And after I draw this, I'll have to take a step back and then reconstruct it again. Because like, even while I draw this, I am trying to hold it. Keyword being trying to hold it in my mind as much as possible, right? And let's not forget, on top of that, there is line work to focus on, which is shit. I mean, like, objectively, it's just not that good. But that's okay. Now let's see, also based on the contour, right? So if that's my front plane, and then we have the curve, and we have, oh, okay. See, I just had a moment. I literally just had one moment where I almost saw everything, where I saw the 3 layers, and it was all working together. I just had a moment. Was it the fucking optimal, most like perfect aligned moment? No, but I had that little moment, and that felt crazy good. Like, genuinely, that was like, oh shit, I saw, just for a second, I saw everything that I wanted to see. And now this design isn't that good because like these are thin things stacked on top of thin things, right? I understand that. To a degree, I actually do understand that now, right? So that's good too, because we're trying to make sure that, at least I'm trying to make sure that I can still have some semblance of design in my work, right? But that's very difficult because don't forget, we're doing 3 layers of perspective, trying to constantly hold it, trying to constantly analyze it. And then now it's like, okay, well, design something. It's like, okay, I guess I'll go fuck myself, right? It's always easier said than done, always, at all times, And now I want to do something that reinforces the sphere, the curve of the sphere. And that's obviously based on my plane. And this is the center line, right? So this is the center line. We had the center. Where is the sphere though? Like, did I fuck the sphere up somewhere? It feels as if the sphere ends right there. So this actually could have been curved a lot more, right? And this, I feel as if should have been curved a little bit better. But again, like, it's extremely hard to see, right? See, because I lost the perspective again. So now it's like, okay, take a step back. Let's reconstruct. And I feel as if this is helping a decent amount because it's like I'm trying to hold everything at the same time. Like right now, I reconstructed and I'm trying to hold everything all at once while I try to figure this out, right? And don't get me wrong, that's extremely fucking difficult. I don't know anybody who would get me wrong and think that's easy, but if you were, it's extremely difficult, right? But personally for me, that's the fucking beauty of it, is the fact that it's extremely difficult, because if it was easy, then everybody would be doing it. Everybody would be like, oh yes, spatial reasoning, jujube, it's too easy, right? But now I'm trying to hold everything all at once and calculate, oof, as they say, oof. But yeah, this is crazy. Let's see, maybe something like this. There you go, maybe a curve like that. And again, trying to calculate. It's not, to be honest, this isn't really that bad. This is slowly, I'm starting to understand kind of the purpose of how I want to go about this a bit more. And I think I see the sphere a little bit better, right? But then now I just lost it again. Okay, let's take a step back. Okay, let's try to reconstruct it now, right? I don't know if what I'm doing is actually helpful, but it feels like I'm definitely making a better attempt at trying to understand and hold things in mind. And again, what am I thinking about? The fucking front plane, the side plane, the bottom plane, all these calculations, right? I'm trying to think about all that shit, right? And then because again, it is infinite planes projected on a spherical form, right? So that's very difficult to understand, And again, I'm trying to keep this horizontal and the center. Horizontal curve and the center the vertical curve, but also based on this plane, also based on the the sphere or the ellipse with the minor axis, right? And if you haven't practiced perspective enough, all these words probably don't mean much to you. So that just means you need to practice more, right? Like that's anytime you don't understand something, at least anytime I don't understand something, I need to practice more. Anytime you don't understand something, you just need to practice with more intent and be directionally correct. Like practice in the direction that makes sense, especially when it comes to fundamentals, right? Like a lot of it is just trial and error. Genuinely, a lot of it is just trial and error. That's what I've understood, right? It's not as if my understanding is perfect, but that's just what I've understood, right? And like what I'm doing right now, this right here could be completely fucking wrong. It could be completely fucking wrong. And I think it actually is. I think I fucked up the sphere quite drastically, but we just have to go with it, right? Because let me try this maybe, right? And I'm trying to hold it all together, but right now it's just not happening, right? And hold up, maybe I can do something like might have made a mistake. I mean, definitely made a mistake because I started that and then I tried adding something on top of that. But in terms of the contour, let's see. Okay, see, now my brain's really hurting because trying to figure out this curve and trying to think about the size of the plane and like how it should be, right? It's extremely difficult, but I think it's something like this, right? And I could do something like this, and then yeah, we're just gonna have to accept that that's a mistake, and then bring it back, right? Bring it back in perspective, and then bring it down so it's like it's wrapped like that. And that's actually not a bad hard surface shape. I've seen that a decent amount. Like I'm still trying to emulate obviously what I've seen in what's it called? The like actual proficient artists, right? Like what I've seen them do. So that's not bad at all. And like trying to hold all of this again is extremely fucking difficult. I want to be very clear. And the most difficult part is the sphere, right? Like what is that perfect sphere? Where is it attaching? Where are things making sense? But slowly but surely, given enough time, and that's the biggest thing we all have to remind ourselves, and I would like to constantly remind beginners is these beautiful words: given enough time and effort. Right? I gotta add that too. Given enough time and intentional effort, winning, quote unquote, winning, right? Improving, achieving is a when situation, not an if, right? It's a when situation. Because when you constantly try to improve, the fact that you will improve and get there is simply a matter of time. Now, again, like I fucked up these curves drastically, right? Like that doesn't mean that you're not gonna fail. In fact, failure is a prerequisite for winning. You know, like if you're not failing, you might as well, you're not even trying, right? Right now, I'm failing miserably, genuinely failing miserably, but it's not a negative thing. But I'm gonna rest my brain now because again, like lots of effort was put into maintaining that. Now it's time to rest and then come back and try to build and then reconstruct, hold, and then when it collapses, reconstruct and just keep trying that. And the main thing I consistently struggle with is clearly establishing that center line, right? Like I thought this was my center, but now I've done something like this, so I really have to make sure that this does stay in the center, right? So what is my sphere? That's the main thing. My sphere is something like, okay, that's not bad. That actually did stay in the center a little bit, but you can see the perspective is already decently off, right? And because this is on this side, so again, I have to think about the plane, right? Because that's coming out here. That means this is actually coming out there, because if we go this way, and this is where my plane ends, roughly, right? Go this way, and we go all the way this way. Maybe we come out here, because that's not perfectly centered. Still could use a lot of work, right? But we come out here, and we come out there. Right, like, yeah, right here, so roughly. We come out here. You can see I already fucked up the perspective a little bit. Like, these aren't, this and this are slightly diverging, but come out there, and then we come out back here again, so it's on the other side, right? And then I guess, like, okay, how is that being calculated? Because it's like this, right? And it's following the bottom of our sphere. Really difficult, really fucking difficult to make sense of, to be completely honest, right? But this is and will always be the most difficult part. This is gonna take me years, or at least like half a year to 2 years minimum to really get this down. I wanna be very clear, like it's gonna take me a long time, right? And again, like trying to design on top of that, very fucking difficult. But does that mean that we stop? No, that just means we keep moving forward. Hashtag AOT. See, like I already fucked this up, so now I have to see it again. Oh shit, my iPad's at low battery. Now that's a distraction. That's literally a distraction. So I have to take a step back, be like, okay, what is my scaffold, for lack of a better word, right? And then be like, okay, well, there you go. Okay, I guess this is being jutted outward like so. And it's like, while I'm drawing this, all my focus is on this, but holistically I have to zoom out and be like, okay, well, don't forget you still have that entire box perspective and center lines, which again, I've only held very, very, very minimally, right? But let's see. I'm trying to construct this. Let's do something like, again, try to keep it in perspective. See, that was off perspective. The tinier, the smaller the lines or the shape, the harder it is to make the lines in the right, like, or the easier it is to make those lines inaccurate, right? But let's see. And this is where I'm actually gonna do something that is very difficult, but very necessary, which is, again, it's coming here, the box. I completely lost the box, so take a step back. Okay, let's try to reconstruct it now, right? Because that sphere is definitely ending right around here. So with that being said, there you go. Not definitely, like the word definitely, I say it in terms of like, again, directionally correct, right? I don't actually know that it's going to end exactly where I want it to. And you can see my lines are suffering quite drastically. But there you go. This isn't too bad. Just trying to keep the shape simple. I don't really have a visual library, you might say, right? Or an understanding. See, and again, like this curve is now I see it's pretty inaccurate, but tried, right? We tried really. And another really difficult thing is like keeping that, like when you start and end the spheres, to keep it constant. I actually did a pretty decent job there, not gonna lie, right? So now I obviously want to not add another shape here, right? Because we're not gonna see this on the other side, you know, at all. Like if we think about it, because again, this plane coming out, this is the edge, then we bring it back in, and it's basically on the other side. And even if I jut it out a bit and actually like calculate it, it's just not being seen. So with that being said, obviously I want to draw something else that is being seen. This is actually going really well, constantly reaffirming to myself what I'm doing and hopefully explaining to you guys what I'm doing is genuinely making a difference in terms of me maintaining the scaffold of this perspective and constantly trying to see the center lines and everything that is involved around it, right? When I think about this, it's like, okay, think about the plane, think about the two edges and think about how they're meeting, right? Think about this, think about this, think about how it's curving, but you're just drawing something here. So try to think about like just what this curve is, right? The hardest part is to not make the curve too pronounced, like which I have done every single time here, right? And obviously getting it incorrectly because they're just, it's like the overall curve is pronounced, but if you're drawing something here and you're drawing something here, it's basically kind of just like a very subtle curve, very subtle. It might as well be a straight line with a little bit of an inclination that there's a curve, right? But it's the sum of the parts that make it look like it's part of the perspective, is what I'm understanding, right? So, again, this is all. Oh god, I got a fucking burp again. Oh no, please. Not as in I don't want to burp, but like it just feels so uncomfortable. It's like when you know when you have to burp, but at the same time you have to like it feels like blocked up. It's got me bricked up, as they say. Oh, maybe I can do something like this. This is pretty interesting. So now I really have to calculate. There's a lot of calculations going on here, and my brain is really struggling, which is good. But if you're wondering what I'm struggling with, and again, you see these little dots I place as like indicators, right? So we're gonna obviously have this curve aligned, if try to make it a little bit more realistic, but that curve is just part of this plane, right? This plane. And yeah, my perspective is a little bit different now. Decent amount different, but yeah, a little bit different. But on top of that, I need to account for this end of the sphere and then be like, okay, it's coming out here, it's curving, so it's kind of like this, right? So what can I do here? See, I already fucked it up, but let's see what can be done here. I'm trying to think in terms of perspective, right? So I've already created this sort of, yeah, I've created this. Now it's like, where do we take it from here, right? And it just comes down to how much do I want to push the angles into perspective? The answer is, I don't know. I don't know. I'm already struggling so much with just holding this that, oh, look, that curve is actually way too much now that we look at it. Like, what the fuck, bro? Might as well just be a tiny ellipse here, right? So, complete mistake. Should have been way more like that. But either way, I'm trying to think in terms of just what angle I want to put this in, because maybe something like this, or maybe we'll just make it tiny. I don't know, like I can't think of a big, medium, small equivalent right now, but perhaps something that is calculated along this, right, that angle, and then let's see. I don't know how this is gonna go, like I'll be completely honest. And again, this is my little perspective, my plane, so the curve should roughly be something like this. Even then, that might have been a bit too much, but at least I can close the sphere off. And now I think about, oh, maybe I could do something like this. And again, like really trying to hold everything in mind. Failing miserably, that's the main thing, right? Failing absolutely miserably, but let's see. Okay, maybe I can do something like this. Because... something like this, actually. And you'll see my lines will suffer. And this might as well be a straight line, right? Like, you're not going to see an intense curve at all. Right? And then what else? What else can be done? And let's see, we'll do something like that. And we will, let's see. I don't know. I actually don't know where else to take this. But you can see like my mind is really, really, really struggling to hold this all together right now. And it's actually, this is off center. Look at that. This is actually off center. So maybe I can just add like a little thing here to be like, oh no, look. It's supposed to be off center. Ha ha ha. Totally intentional. Right? And then let's see. And then maybe this can be the reinforcer for the perspective, because that's kind of what I wanted to do anyways, because I wanted to have this be relatively strongly manipulated to an extent. Hold up. That was a mistake, which I'm trying to turn not into a mistake, right? But holding this all is very difficult, genuinely very difficult. Let's see. See, like I probably should have made that go down lower, but now we just have to work with what I have done, which is this giant mistake, right? And we'll, of course, try to make it seem as if it's all part of the plan. Let's see, something like this. And I need to take a step back. Okay, I got the perspective back again. Again, reconstructing. Constructing? What the fuck am I saying? That's how you know my brain's too busy working on this bullshit. But you'll see, like, I hope you can see, dude, like, his lines are suffering so much. Like, that's insane, right? And that's part of it, is like, when I'm thinking this much, my lines are 100% going to suffer. You know, it's just a matter of fact. But, and like, yeah, the perspective's very off here now. Let's see, something like this. Right? So, it's been 42 minutes. It's been 42 fucking minutes, right? And I haven't even been able to do that second rep of like this yet. So, and my lines have suffered drastically, but let's see. This is kind of wrapping around the outer edge as I see it, right? This is wrapping around the outer edge, so that doesn't mean that anything changes here. And then we just need to do the same thing on the other side, which is, now this is like where I really get to think about the perspective, right? Like really think about how this is all gonna make sense in perspective, because I need to ensure, yeah, okay, see, so I'm thinking like just being able to have that box wrapping around the sphere and now the center lines, that is helping a lot, because now I can hopefully, if this is the distance and then this over here is the distance, right? I can hopefully create something, because now that's coming out on this other side. It's kind of like on the edge, right? So that's actually something I hadn't realized, but yeah, I can hopefully create something that still is relatively consistent in terms of the proportion. And obviously drawing on the other side is extremely difficult, like genuinely very difficult, right? So I need to keep that alignment as well. And this is obviously where my lines in general are very important, like genuinely very important, right? And of course, like it's not gonna be that good, because as you can see, the lines are very thick, and that completely messes with kind of what I'm trying to do here, right? Fucks it up quite a bit, but let's see. And I think pretty sure the bottom, yeah, the bottom is misaligned. The top is aligned, but the bottom is misaligned. But while I'm doing this, I'm really trying to hold that perspective in mind. I completely lost it multiple times, so I need to take a step back again and be like, okay, what is actually being done? See, oh, look at that horrible fucking line, right? But that is literally how we learn. Let me try to think. Let's put that there. And this is actually great because I get to close the sphere off. Like so. Wow, that actually was not that bad. I mean, I could have done it a lot better, but dude, like, this is probably the best I've done in terms of holding this shit in my mind, you know? Which is difficult, which is extremely difficult. I want to be, again, I'll never, ever, literally, I will never, ever, ever undermine how difficult this skill is to retain. Because obviously I'm going through it, right? I'm the one who is going through the extreme amounts of effort to retain the skill, right? And you can see, like, here my perspective is actually dying quite a bit, like quite a fucking bit. Hopefully that's clearer to see. Because trying to hold that box is becoming harder and harder. Genuinely becoming harder and harder. But this is kind of like, this is the process, right? And hey, at least it's nice to know that I'm getting slightly better at holding things. Just slightly better. And let's see, this is like the edge, right? It's just like kind of curved. So this is actually perfect because this is how it should be. There you go. And we don't really see the other side at all. Because again, it's foreshortened, right? Well, I fucked that up, but it's okay. It's actually not bad. Like, it's nothing incredible, but see, like, if we just close that off, it doesn't look too bad. And the perspective is relatively accurate. Okay, cool. Let me rest my brain. I'm clearly been slowly improving, right? On, yeah, see, like, that's how it should be attached. But this could have been a lot better in terms of the curve. But overall, holy shit, that's not bad at all. I guess we'll just add a screw here to be like, look, mechanical part. It's a mechanical part because it has a circle. That could be a screw. Ooh, fucking look at that, genius design. But let me rest my brain. Oh wait, might as well do this as well then. Right, symmetry and all that shit, but... And we don't see this on the other side. I'm very certain. Yeah, we don't see it. We just don't see it. So let me rest my brain. I'm not gonna do another rep like this again. We'll just do one more of this because there's not enough time to go through that whole thing. It's been 47 minutes, but dude, that was amazing. Okay, so gonna rest my brain and then gonna keep trying to build, hold, and then when it collapses inevitably after like 5 seconds max, reconstruct, right? And I am getting better. I'm literally getting better at reconstructing it, trying to hold it. It's like, it's actually, I feel as if that 20% is more consistent now. But obviously my lines are suffering greatly, right? But, well, actually, I don't know if I did that. I might as well do something like this. Who fucking knows? Anyways, let me rest my brain. Yeah, this is actually awesome. I'm very, very happy with how effective kind of just explaining these things out loud. I mean, yes, there are hundreds of mistakes with this, especially regarding my lines, but I'm glad. I'm just very glad that it's starting to take form. Hey, no pun intended, get it, taking form. Anyways, so again, now I need to bring that, I need to build this entire box, sphere, center lines, everything again. And I need to try to hold that. That's the main thing, right? It's like build it up, and then try to hold it for as long as you can. And that's what I'm doing right now. I'm trying to hold it for as long as I can while I explain, which is extremely difficult skill, right? Okay, now I've lost it. Take a step. Or take a second, according to GPT and Google. And now I'm back. Now I'm back. Anyways, let's see. Try to hold it again. And again, the thing is, like, it's already so difficult to hold the 3 layers of perspective. Like, genuinely, while I'm talking, I'm losing it quite a bit. And it makes sense. We're 50 minutes into my practice. So, of course, I'm losing it quite a bit, right? But while I'm already here, it's extremely difficult to hold this and then now try to think about designs on top of it. I think this one I should keep a lot more simple, for sure. Because, again, the center line is the main thing I need to do to... Oh, God. Dude, that fucking burp that's just been in my stomach. Oh, yeah. Oh yeah. Okay, there you go. I wanted to do like the Tony the Tiger. Oh no, fucking not Tony the Tiger. What the fuck? They were great. The Kool-Aid Man, right? Oh yeah, but I couldn't. I really messed it up. It's unfortunate. Not as unfortunate as my birth, but still quite the catastrophe for mankind. Okay, anyways. Okay, really trying to hold it, trying to visualize it, trying to hold it. Let's get the center line again, right? And now on top of that center line, let's do something that's really going to establish. There you go. See, I wanted to do something more drastic like that, because now this, and like again, like I lost it, so I need to bring it back and hold it. But now with this, it should be a lot easier to, and I really like. It should be a lot easier to design is what I was trying to say. But I really like how, oh, it's already off compared to that. It's okay, perspective's different now. That's just what it is. But I'm really glad that I got this sort of confirmation, affirmation, whatever the fuck you want to call it, that it is expected that I'll lose the, hold up. Like I will lose the, hold up, shut the fuck up. That I will lose the visualization a lot. Like, it's nice to have that sort of affirmed, because now I can just focus on the process of, okay, build it up, lose it, build it up, lose it, rather than focusing too much on just trying to hold it for as long as possible. Because that is apparently, or not apparently, I feel as if it's very reasonable and realistic, but that is how a lot of experienced draftsmen visualize. Okay, so I lost it again, take a step back. Okay, now let's try to build it back up again. But that is how a lot of experienced draftsmen visualize, apparently, which is that they're constantly, it's not about how long you can hold it for, it's about the shape and the girth. It's about fucking, my shit jokes always get in the way of my explaining things. Which, to the dismay of every Viggy fammer out there, must be quite annoying. But as a wise Corbin Blue once said, deal with it. Oh, I ain't telling you no lie. So, but it makes sense. Like, it makes sense that it's more about how rapidly you can reconstruct your visualization rather than the extreme duration at which you try to hold it for, right? And I feel as if that's just context that I needed to reaffirm to myself that, hey, holding it is just one part of it. It's extremely important, don't get me wrong. I still think holding the visualization is extremely important, like genuinely very important. But like, while I'm trying to hold it to the best of my ability right now, taking a step back and be like, okay, reconstruct, okay. Like now it helps quite a bit. And I'm pretty sure, and you can see my lines are really subpar. And I need to, look at that. Like my line confidence and pen pressure, sensitivity and applicability is so mediocre, but that's how we, look at that. Ooh, what the fuck? See that? This angle is so hard for me. But that's how we constantly get better, right? It's, if I wasn't mediocre, then I actually would be mediocre. Does that make sense? Like, if I didn't constantly experience mediocrity in my attempts of greatness, right, or excellence, then I would actually be mediocre, because then I literally am just not even trying. And that's the actual mediocrity, is not trying, right? And if that offends you, you're a moron. It's as simple as that, right? But that is true mediocrity, in my opinion, is not even trying, right? And we can all define it different ways and paint it up different ways, but that's just how I see it. I'm not asking for anyone's thoughts on how they see it, but that is just how I see it. Because, and again, I'm trying to fucking think right now, because how I define mediocrity is just, did I put in a genuine effort? And the answer should be, yeah, you fucking tried. Like, nobody's gonna say you succeeded, but you did try. And like, I am putting in quite the genuine effort right now. And the thing is, like, I get it in the sense that you don't know if those efforts mean anything. So, someone with a poor mindset would probably think, then why bother? But someone with a mindset that's focused purely on learning, right, and improving, would and should think along the lines of, well, because I'm trying, that is why I should bother, right? So, despite my despite the way I may come off, I genuinely do believe everybody is capable of excellence. And I think excellence is a time and effort game. Again, I'm not excellent. Like, I'm not excellent. But these are the things I must repeat to myself to ensure that I do not stray. That I do not stop trying. Because the only reason I'll know if I'm actually excellent or not is 50 years from now. When I look back and I think, see, that wasn't even aligned. But I think back and I'll be like, okay, like, it turns out I wasn't excellent, but I became really fucking decent. Or I'll be like, yes, trying did turn me pretty excellent. All right, good thing I kept trying then. Right, so at the end of the day, it's like, okay, just keep trying. If we won't know the fruits of our labor until it has, borne fruit, then the only thing to do is to labor, right? So that's just kind of what makes sense to me. But anyways, I'm doodling right now, so I'm just gonna rest my brain, and then I'm getting better. Like, I'm definitely holding it a lot better, and clearly my shapes, like this, I think I finally found that little flow state of like, okay, if I just focus on the overall thing, and I kind of let general intuition take me in terms of like, oh, make this a bit bigger, make this a bit smaller. I was too hyper fixated on intensely visualizing anything instead of, and I think this is that balance, is like the intense visualization versus the general just reconstruction, think really hard, and then reconstruction, right? It's like, I don't know how to explain that balance. I'll try my best to articulate it. If not in this video, then a following video, but let me rest my brain first and I'll try to articulate it. Okay, cool. So, and this is kind of like what GPT was telling me as well. Like, and I did no further referencing beyond this. I was just like, okay, I told you to use the internet and give me the best science, and this is what you've said. I believe you. I don't think for myself. But the main thing is, it was mentioning that instead of like extreme effort at all times, just as much effort as you can muster. And all, by the way, like, this perspective is completely different now too, right? But like, I am using a lot of effort to think about that sphere right now, but it's kind of like the calculations are occurring, the schema I'm trying to build is happening, the center lines I'm trying to maintain, the horizontal lines, it's all happening, but it's almost like this thing where you have to think really, really hard, because I am right now, I'm genuinely thinking really, oh god, not the fucking burp. The biggest cock block to my explanation is not even my ability to articulate it, although that is true. It's my ability to continue the flow without burping every goddamn 3 seconds, right? But, oh look, maybe we can do something like this. See, I wouldn't have thought of that if I was so anal about like having the perfect visualization, right? Let's see. And then that can actually just connect up here. Ta-da! There you go. Let me just... Also, me getting distracted with the drawing itself is also another fucking thing that's getting in the way, clearly. But leave me alone, man. I'm just trying to vibe. There you go. And we'll do something like that. Oh, that line was off. Okay. This is just a poor, lone little thingy now. That's just sometimes how it is. You'll just be lonely. And either way, that's not that good of a design, to be honest. But yeah, it's basically this balance between thinking really hard like I'm doing right now, because I'm trying to think about the center line, like this is what I've established, right? And then being like, okay, now where's my sphere actually? And it's like, okay, there it is, it's right around there, right? So now what I can do is, I can do something like this, because I've established that. Now, like thinking really hard on that end, but also allowing yourself, I guess, to retain those calculations for as long as possible, but not be so attached to them, I guess, right? Because this is going this way now. How is this going to converge, right? Because again, like this is clearly kind of what I've established for my sphere. So let's see. And again, like it's very difficult. Don't get me wrong. I'm still trying to hold everything together, right? It's very difficult, but let's see, something like this maybe. And maybe this is not subtle enough, but even something like that perhaps can make a huge difference, right? Like, 'cause now it's attached, and this is actually probably too curved, definitely not subtle enough. I probably should have ended it here, yeah, like that, but it's okay because I made the choice. We have committed, right? The greatest felony of all, which is not thinking. And then we'll just do something like this. And maybe I'll add another. This is actually, I don't know what the fuck, I don't know how I'm actually doing this right now, I'll be honest, in terms of like how free-flowing it feels. But hey, the designs are starting to look pretty decent. So, but this is obviously a much smaller sphere than what this is. So that's something to, or is it? So again, I got to recalibrate and be like, okay, what's actually being calculated here? Genuinely what's being recalculated? Because we need to, and this could be wrong. This curve I just established could 100% be wrong. And I have to be okay with that, right? I have to be really okay with that. But so far it doesn't seem too bad, all things considered. Although the only thing that's fucking bad right now is my goddamn line work, clearly. And okay, see, like, and then I can think about the curve here as well. It's like, okay, that's very subtle, right? And this is actually, what is happening here? Oh, see, I made a mistake. Okay, so what I did here is, let's see, kind of made it jut out for no reason, but now I have to problem solve and think, well, I guess this is just the end. And then maybe there's something jutting out here. That wasn't that good. See, like that was a huge mistake on my end. And again, my lines, Jesus Christ, bro. And I have to really think about, okay, like maybe this is gonna curve based on the bottom plane. Okay, see, my lines are actually my biggest fucking enemy right now. But let's see. We'll do something like it curves, and then yeah, we'll do this. So it curves, and we can do something like this. And while I'm doing this, I'm really trying to hold in that perspective. Genuinely, it may not seem like it, but I'm trying to hold the perspective in. And what can this do? Maybe this will just have like a simple cutout. Right, and then again, like this is where the perspective comes into play, and like I'm really trying to think about that overall box. So okay, I got it back now. I got the box back a little bit. See, and like again, I'm stopping here because I'm like, this is where it aligns with this curve, with the edge of this sphere. Right here, I'm stopping because this is my center line, right? And then it's gonna align with what I'm trying to calculate, right? You see how much I'm struggling to go along that route, but what I'm trying to calculate as the edge of my sphere, and like hopefully as I continue, that wasn't even that much of a perfect circle, but hopefully as I continue and while I do this, trying to again keep the box contained in this as well as possible. But it's extremely difficult, right? It's genuinely extremely difficult. And again, like what the fuck am I gonna do here? This is obviously gonna wrap around the sphere. So first I guess we'll problem solve this, right? I guess we'll problem solve this first. Whether I understand the problem I'm solving comes down to just, because again, like I'm at the end of my practice now, right? So it's a lot of effort. And again, this diagonal that I'm making is based on the fact that this is clearly, well, I say clearly, but this is roughly the perspective that I have, right, on the side plane. And now I'm just gonna be like, okay, if I want to do this diagonal, well then it's something like that, right? Again, it's always based on calculating on surrounding factors, right? Like the edge of this plane versus this plane, and we go this way in perspective, right? And then that's because we go this way, and then there's a center line, and it's all being calculated. Am I doing that right now with extreme brain effort? No, because I spent hundreds and thousands of repetitions doing that in my practicing fundamentals, fucking part 20 or part 5 to part 60, where I went off on learning, or really practicing multiple rounding and like really getting down the and again, see my perspective is off there, that line. Really getting that concept down, right? So it's all just effort. I don't know what the fuck else to say, bro. I don't know what else to tell you. It's all just effort. Let's see. Right now I'm kind of just having fun ideating while trying to keep that perspective. And you can see like this angle, my lines are pretty decent because like it's just an easier angle for me, right? Thereby skill, right? Always skill. Oh, but even then I fucked up the fucking angle. Jesus Christ, I take it back, it's all shit. But let's see, and then maybe I can actually have a screw here. And again, I'm really trying to keep the entire perspective in mind. And that's some form blending, right? It's following that contour. Doesn't really look that good. I probably should have made this a bit longer, to be honest, because now it's not even centered properly. Fuck it, we'll just make it longer. Okay, now it's too long, and I did it, and it still looks awkward. Ooh. Let's see, again, trying to keep that perspective in mind. This is probably a good time for me to take that break from my brain, like the gap effect, because I'm actually having trouble seeing anything decent. But let's see, we'll do something like this. That really looks kind of shit, TBH, famo. Yeah, see, so my shape there wasn't ideated well at all. It just wasn't ideated well at all. And that's part of the process, right? It's like I tried doing something and it kind of just looked ass, complete ass, right? And let's see, we'll have this curve along the ellipse. There you go. Again, that line is horrible, right? But it's okay. Anyways, let me rest my brain. It's been an hour and 8 minutes, so I definitely need to rest my brain and then finish the other side, which I gotta really take my time for because it's gonna be difficult to finish the other side. Bless me. And you'll notice as I get towards closer to the end of a session, it's harder for me to retain the things that I wanted to, which is like, oh, take a step back, oh, restructure, oh, hold it in my mind. Like that all becomes a fuck ton harder, like 10 times harder. Okay, so again, this is the side of my plane and I'm gonna go across. So it's like we barely see it. Okay, so now that means I'm allowed to close this off, right? I'm allowed to close this sphere off. And I may have actually made the sphere a lot larger than it needed to be, but we still need to interpret it correctly based on the box that I've set around it, right? So you can see this is actually off center because I fucked up the sphere, right? So we can see very clearly that this is off center, right? Actually, yeah, like I definitely messed up the sphere, completely messed it up, to be honest. It's not center aligned at all. So we might actually need to, no, I don't know what else to do. Like I completely messed up the sphere. So that's good in the sense that it reinforces to me that I have a lot to learn, because that means like this, what I did here should have been, yeah, it's all wrong. It's all wrong because I made this too wide. The sphere is just too big. You see, so I couldn't see it, right? I could not see it. So no matter how nice the shapes maybe look, right? The perspective is completely incorrect. And even this is completely incorrect. It should have been much more of a wide degree based on this new sphere I have established. So it's kind of like, where do we go from here? Do I just leave it? Probably just leave it because it's clearly a mistake. And now the main thing is just try to complete the sphere as accurately as you can. And there you go. It's relatively completed, right? But now you see like how incorrectly I placed everything, right? That's a huge mistake. That's an incredibly huge mistake. But that's just the quality of the beginning of the session, the first 40 minutes, which is really when our brains can focus the most, and then like the last 20, 30 minutes, right? But overall, still not bad. It's kind of obvious what perspective I was going for here versus what I ended up establishing, right? Because this I made too wide. If I kind of curved it out closer, I don't know because I feel as if once I established that this was the edge, I fucked it up at that point already. So it's just huge mistakes. So let's just say mistake, yay. But I'm gonna leave it there. That was really good. That was very difficult, and I feel as if it was very fruitful in terms of trying to constantly build that schema. The schema being box, sphere inside the box, center line inside the sphere inside the box. Very fucking difficult. Like I'm literally trying to think about this. I want to again make it very clear. Like this, I'm trying to think about this, right? Like I'm trying to think about. See, and like this is already incorrect as the box itself. So this is supposed to be shorter because we want a perfect sphere. So you can see the sphere I drew is already incorrect, right? But that's like the main thing is we're literally trying to think on this scale of a box, sphere inside the box, right? Center line inside the sphere inside the box, while also calculating these, while also calculating these, while also calculating these, right? So really difficult, but really worthwhile. And that's why I'm going to spend as much time as I can on all of this, right? Yeah, anyways, that was a good session though. I hope you guys all, and girls, but that's like, it's a callback to the first 50 of my videos where I'd be like, guys and girls, in that voice because my audience is mostly male. But maybe women will find this fruitful as well. I think anybody can learn from draftsmanship attempts, right? Or abilities that we're trying to gain. But either way, that was fucking good. I hope you guys really tried as well. And girls, like fucking Jesus Christ, I need to stop this. But either way, I hope you all tried. Hope you guys all tried. I said guys, that's a man-only channel. Anyways, yeah, I hope you all tried. And as always, right? Fuck you for watching. Keep drawing, and please give me money.